good afternoon, and good evening to you. Welcome to the second show of this week. It's Wednesday, the 7th of October, 2020, and we have I think, a troubling show today on a couple of fronts. On the front of the coronavirus, I'm going to bring you an update today on what's happening worldwide, the global look on coronavirus. It's coming back all across the world, literally. It really is coming back all across the world. That's troubling. Also, I've got a special video right at the end of this show to further bring home what I've been talking about now and what Trump proved when he did his stand back and stand by condemnation of Proud Boys. This video shows you what's coming to America in the form of white militias, which they've had them forever, KKK, the lot of them. But now you can see the black side of things are arming up now as well, which I'm really pleased about. And they need more of them because there's just too many of these white militias floating around. Trump's told them to stand back and stand by. I'm expecting madness on the 3rd of November, especially if that idiot loses. So it's a worrying show on many fronts. However, I'm here to bring you guys the facts. So without further ado, guys, let's get to today's show. I want to start with the update on Trump's White House. It's chaos there now. Every day a new person's caught it. I think the count's at about 16. When I spoke to you guys on Monday, the count was at 7. By the time I finished recording, it turned out that Kellyanne Conway, who is his mouthpiece from way back, who's his advisor who helped him win the election, it turned out she's caught it. The very next day, Kayleigh McEnany caught it, who's his White House press secretary. She's got it. And then it turned out Stephen Miller, for you guys who don't know who he is, anything you hear Trump do that's racist, like locking up children at the border, like separating children from their parents at the border, all these draconian moves come from Stephen Miller. He's now gone down with it, and I hope I hope he goes on the statistic, because this guy is a remorseless racist. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to bring you guys up to speed with where the White House is. Just before I do that, many of you saw Trump discharge himself from hospital, right? I think it was Monday night. I mean, look, he came out of hospital and everybody can still, if you look at the video, you can still see he's struggling to breathe. Okay? The whole thing was a stunt. And I hope, really do hope, that as Corona has shown in many sufferers of it, many victims of the virus, they think they're recovering and they plunge. And sometimes they never come back again. This whole guy's thing is to tell his supporters that they don't have to be worried about coronavirus. So the 210 plus thousand people that have died, what are you going to say to their families? Anyway, there's no word for people like him. So let me crack on with the show. I'm going to bring you up to speed with the White House situation and how the White House right now has become a super spreading place. Literally. Because the people think it's a hoax, or they don't believe it, or you got Trump blasting Biden about, every time I see him, he's got a big mask on his face. Well, Biden has tested negative, thank God, because he was wearing masks. So take a look, guys.
The atmosphere at the White House is chaotic, according to one source, as COVID-19 rips through the president's inner circle. Senior advisor Stephen Miller is now one of at least a dozen of the president's close contacts who have tested positive. And there are others whose names and faces we don't know, including a military aide assigned to the Oval Office. The top infectious disease expert in the US, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the White House outbreak was avoidable.
Take a look at what happened this week at the White House. That is a reality right there. And every day that goes by, more people are popping up that are infected. It's not a hoax. It's an unfortunate situation when you see something like that, because that could have been prevented.
Welcome back, guys. Right? You heard Fauci. He warned them. You could see a bit of gloating in his face, to be honest, because while he was warning them to be better at what they were doing and for the White House to behave better, they were putting out fake news on him to turn the world against him. But it didn't work. It worked with some people. Some people still think Fauci's this and Fauci's that. But majority of people just batted it off because they knew what it was. Okay? So this is his time now to say, look at that. The one place that should be super protected, where there shouldn't be any virus there. How the hell can the White House be a place that people go and catch the virus when the president of the country lives there? You're going to see from my next video, right, how these people have behaved, even at the debate last Tuesday. Now, let me tell you guys something. Tonight, Kamala Harris is debating Mike Pence. So the VP debate, the vice presidential debate. That's on tonight. Kamala Harris, I don't blame her, didn't want to take part. She said, I'm not taking part unless you build some kind of a unit around me that protects me from these people. Because Mike Pence was at the same super spreading event. You could see his face. They put his name right next to his face. So the only way they could get Kamala Harris to participate in tonight's debate, after Joe Biden, her running mate, got away. Literally, he escaped because he had a mask and he was, do you know what I mean? Because there was social distancing. He didn't shake Trump's hand. Anyhow, he did that on that day, he would have caught it because Trump already had it at that point. So think about it. So Kamala Harris has said to them, I'm not debating unless you put some kind of plexiglass thing around me. So they agreed. They said, yeah, we're going to do that. When they did that, Mike Pence said, I don't want one around me. I don't want one around me. Remember, Mike Pence is in the White House. So he probably hasn't tested properly yet, or they're keeping his a secret because they don't want the number one and number two to have coronavirus. People are going to go, well, what happens if they both die? Oh no, right? So they might be keeping his a secret. So she, good girl that she is, says, I am not debating unless you protect me from these idiots. And so the debate organizers are going to put them both in boxes. And this time, unlike the last time when Trump's family took off their mask in the venue, when the venue's rules what they had to have masks on, Biden's people all had masks. Trump's people walked in and took their masks off and just had their face like that. Like, we don't wear masks. Well, guess what? You're all infected now. Thank you very much. So, so the debate's on tonight, guys. Those of you who are interested in watching, it's going to be a brilliant debate. Kamala Harris is a brilliant debater. When she was running for the Democrats to be president, because she ran for president, but then she dropped out because she wasn't getting the numbers. When she dropped out, then she backed Biden, and then Biden's now picked her. Take a look at my next video, guys.
Shared a debate stage with him for a shouty 90 minutes on Tuesday night. A debate where the president ripped into the Democratic candidate for his mask wearing.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
And it was noticeable that none of the Trump entourage wore face coverings.
That actually violated the rules of the Cleveland Clinic, which was in charge of all the safety issues inside the hall, which were that everybody except for the president, the vice president, and I were not supposed to wear masks. I mean, we're supposed to wear masks.
It's irresponsible.
It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. Look, I was reading something in the Atlantic. Peter Nicholas wrote. He said, I arrived at the White House this morning. I was struck by the lack of safety protocols. The most famous address in America now feels like a coronavirus breeding ground. You want to know when he wrote that? He wrote that in August. And it's October now. This has been a...
Welcome back, guys. Nothing more to be said. Listen, I'm going to scoot over to the corona situation now, guys. This thing's running rampant again, guys. Is running rampant everywhere, literally everywhere, every country. I mean, Germany, for example, which had a brilliant first run, are having a worse second run. They're having more cases now than they did the first time round. It's looking really bleak. I don't know when this thing's going to end, but guys, take a look at the world situation right now. We're going to look at Germany, Italy and South Africa first. Take a look.
Reasonable. Angela Merkel is warning of a drastic spike in cases this coming winter and says, on a personal note, spontaneous encounters are what she misses the most during the pandemic. With rising infections in Madrid, a lockdown has been ordered, almost a total lockdown. The only exception, travel to school or to a job. Many businesses are required to operate at half capacity, gatherings limited to 6 people, and the city's borders are closed to non-essential visitors. In the UK, new restrictions are not stopping a quickly spreading second wave. The Prime Minister warns there could be more severe action to come. And from today, South Africa reopening its borders to tourists from low-risk countries, but vacationers from COVID hotspots like the US still not welcome, not allowed. Only Johannesburg, Cape Town and Durban are accepting international flights. CNN's Alani Joko.
Guys, I mean, you know, it's with South Africa, like most countries, US citizens are still not allowed anywhere. And Trump's talking about we're doing great. If you're doing great, how come no countries open the border to you? And you know what's funny? His followers, they don't even know this. And I'll be honest with you, even if they knew, would they care? Hell no. These guys don't travel. Most of the people that support Trump are not travelers. These are not people that travel and go on holiday elsewhere. These are people that go hunting in the forest of where they live. When they go on their vacation, they're going on in some cabin in the woods because they don't use their passport like that. It's a shame. Guys, let me show you a second clip now on COVID. This time we're looking at UK, US and France. Take a look.
On the spread of the coronavirus, and it's certainly discouraging. For example, France reported a new daily record Saturday with nearly 17,000 cases in a 24-hour period. That's almost 1,000 more than the previous record set just over 1 week ago. The United Kingdom reported more than 12,800 new cases on Saturday, but blamed the spike on a technical issue. It said the addition of unreported infections from last week made the number so high. Those cases more than doubled the UK's 7-day average. The government says it has resolved the technical issue. The United States is currently averaging more than 700 COVID-19 deaths per day. That according to Johns Hopkins University. On Saturday, the state of California surpassed 16,000 total deaths from coronavirus. The California Department of Health reported 88 new deaths. New York is ramping up testing. It conducted a record high number of COVID-19 tests Friday and reported 6 deaths on Saturday. Officials in the state of Kentucky reported the highest number of new cases for that state since the pandemic began, and a record high case count in Wisconsin as well.
Guys, we've come to the end of we've come to my last video now, and this video is troubling. This video backs up what I've been talking about now for a good couple of months. What I've really raised the issue on since Trump's debate with Biden, when he told the militias to stand back and stand by. Now, this video shows you what's coming to the United States. And we're in the UK, but we should be very afraid, because this, if it kicks off the way I'm predicting it will, depending on the behavior of that idiot in the White House on after the 3rd of November election. The polls just came out today. Biden at 57%, he's at 41. 17 point lead Biden's got on this guy. And he's still talking about the election is going to be rigged. Consistently, Biden's been ahead of him. He knows he's going to lose, and he's preparing his people for war. This video should scare the living daylights out of every one of us. Take a look.
This may look like the US Army is on the streets, but in fact these are militiamen with their own alarming agenda. We were witnesses to this extraordinary development, a major US city in the hands of self-confident and heavily armed militias, with police and civic leaders nowhere to be seen. It was a brazen show of strength with an unmistakable message that there are new sheriffs in town.
Rioting and burning and looting is not going to answer that question.
Angry Viking is a militia commander who told me he wants dialogue.
And we're here just to protect the building. That's it. And we're here to do this. Meet and talk. you was gonna allow it to happen.
But that dialogue quickly descended into furious arguments. Black Lives Matter activists, who have held a vigil here for 100 days, say the militias are a pure provocation.
Tired, exhausted, worn out. What else do you want me to say?
Do you think it'll end up as a fight?
Yes, yes, people are going to die, bro. People are going to die. I don't know who's going to be.
Which militia are you from? Many of these disparate groups, which militia are you from, had no interest in identifying themselves. Excuse me, sir, which militia are you from?
Impeding me from moving my group that way. Right now, are you not?
No,
yes, you are.
I'm asking you what you're doing here on the streets of this city.
Well, first off, you're not American.
One of the most bizarre features here is this mosaic of different groups. We've got protesters, counter-protesters, we've got militias, we've got other armed groups who refuse to identify themselves. All of it is a recipe for confusion on the streets of Louisville and potentially for chaos.
I'm not going to bring a knife to a gunfight, sir.
And here's the danger. Americans are arming up. Nadia Ford, a grandmother, arrived here with multiple weapons to confront the white militia.
We've tried peaceful for years upon years, and it has gotten us nowhere. They murder us for being peaceful. So only when we stand up do they maybe take us seriously. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to stand up against this hate in America.
Eventually, some police did break cover, and this civil rights lawyer, heavily armed himself, said his aim was to run the militias out of town amid multiple threats to his life.
They said they're going to blow out the back of my brains and they'll find out where I live, etc., etc.
So where is America that a lawyer has to walk the streets with body armor, a pistol, and a long arm?
Thank you. Well, because I'm going to defend myself, and I'm not going to be shot down in the streets.
America's militias are emboldened at this volatile moment, emerging out of the shadows in a way I have never seen before.
When I move you to the street, you will load your weapon. What?
A few miles up the road, we saw a whole new phenomenon.
Y'all say you soldiers?
An African-American militia with hundreds of troops. They have a black nationalist agenda.
Hand on the shoulder of the person in front of you.
It's as much a cult as a military formation. This is the NFAC militia. It is well organized and quasi-military. It also proves a militia does not have to be white and right-wing. As hundreds of their armed followers march through a residential suburb,
I'll call in reinforcements.
we glimpse their mysterious leader. Known as Grandmaster Jay, he is a charismatic but enigmatic figure.
Move, move, move! Clear out!
Fearing assassination, his bodyguards surround him at every moment.
Jay's moving back, y'all. Jay's moving back.
What is clear is that these militias have a new swagger. While the election campaign gathers pace, other forces are showing they will fill the security void after this long summer of protests and violence.
Guys, we've come to the end of the show. All I see is pending doom for that country. I hope not. I hope he doesn't behave like a dictator, because the blacks over there are getting ready. They can see it coming too. Those who are paying attention. It's very serious, guys. So guys, look, it's the end of the show. We got one more show for this week on Friday. I'll bring you guys up to speed with the debate that's going on tonight, and then the other relevant situations. There is a war brewing in Europe between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Not many people know about it at the moment. If I can squeeze it in on Friday, I will. This show's about bringing you guys up to speed with what's going on around you, so you're aware of your surroundings and the geopolitical movements around you. So guys, I look forward to seeing you all on Friday, and in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the week and take care. Bye-bye.